We all know that bankruptcy can be a frightening thought, and it comes with so many questions. One of the most pressing questions is whether or not you can keep your home after filing for bankruptcy. Today's video is going to answer that question and more, so let's get started. Hey guys, my name is Justin, and this is Ascend Finance's YouTube channel, where we try to answer all of your questions about finance and debt relief. Today, we're going to be covering how you can keep your house if you've filed for bankruptcy. For many people, it's assumed that they must give up most of their property to receive bankruptcy relief. However, that is not the case in most Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy cases. In a majority of cases, it is in fact possible to keep your home and even your vehicle after filing for bankruptcy. One of the first things you need to consider if you're wanting to keep your home is the exemptions that are available to you. So you can often keep your house and car by claiming what's called bankruptcy exemptions. When you file for bankruptcy relief, you're entitled to use bankruptcy exemptions to protect the equity in some property from being used to pay back some or all of your unsecured creditors. Bankruptcy exemptions apply to a wide variety of assets, which could be homes, vehicles, retirement accounts, clothing, tools of trade, the government benefits, and other personal property. There are generally two categories of bankruptcy exemptions, and those are going to be looking at from a state point of view and also from federal. First, let's take a look at the state bankruptcy exemptions. That person may be required to use state bankruptcy exemptions or have the ability to choose, that is, between state and federal. The exemptions vary greatly from state to state, so it's important to understand whether your state's exemptions are to work with someone who does. At Ascend Finance, we know that it's an important step, and this is why we have created the Bankruptcy Homestead Exemptions Guide, which I linked in the description down below. And you feel free to check it out and see the exemptions for your specific state. Now, let's look at the federal exemptions. The protections offered by state and federal bankruptcy exemptions differ. For example, the homestead exemption for Florida is unlimited in most cases, meaning your home may be protected no matter the amount of equity you have. However, the current exemption for a home under the federal exemption is around $25,000. Couples who file a joint bankruptcy exemptions and are both on the title of the home may have the ability to double the federal homestead exemption, which would be around $50,000. The federal bankruptcy exemptions are subject to review and adjustment every 3 years, and the next scheduled review for an adjustment is on April 1st of 2022 this year. There are states that let you choose whether to file under state or federal bankruptcy exemptions, and so feel free to pause the video now, as I'll include the states that allow federal bankruptcy exemptions on the screen here. How can bankruptcy exemptions help me with bankruptcy and actually keep my house? Well, let's continue looking at how you can keep your home and car when filing bankruptcy. To see if you can keep your home, you can calculate the net equity in your home by subtracting your mortgage payoff and the total of other valid liens filed against the house title from the current fair market value of the home. For example, if your home is worth around $100,000 and you still owe around $80,000 on the mortgage, the net equity in your home equals around $20,000. However, if you apply the federal bankruptcy exemption of $25,000, your home equity is protected from unsecured creditors if you file for bankruptcy. Remember though, for married couples, the homestead exemption doubles if both debtors are on the title of the home and file a joint bankruptcy petition. We know calculating this can be difficult, so we have a calculator in the video description down below that I added that can actually help you figure out if your home may be exempt based on the value, what you owe, what state you live in, etc. And so check it out and let us know if that was helpful in the comments below. If there is risk that you could lose your property by filing bankruptcy, your attorney discusses the risk with you so that you can make the most informed decision. In some cases, you might have alternatives to filing bankruptcy that can help you get rid of the debt. If you are a senior and looking to file bankruptcy, you may have some additional things to help keep your home. For example, retirement income is generally untouchable in a bankruptcy and it's federally protected, and many retirees can avoid losing their homes by using the homestead exemption. If your home equity is less than the exemption amount, your work is done. You get to keep your home while going through your bankruptcy case. However, what happens if your home's equity is actually over the exemption amount? Well, you may still be able to keep your house, but let's cover how that process works. You still have options. The main thing is to understand the amount of equity above the exemption. So depending on what type of bankruptcy you file, you may be able to continue making payments on your mortgage so that you can keep your house. Also, there is something called a wildcard exemption. That allows you to exempt whatever you may need it for. While it is small generally, if you need your home and it's only barely over the exemption limit, it may actually help protect the remaining equity. Working with an expert attorney and talking with your bankruptcy trustee can help you better understand how to keep your home if the home equity is actually higher than the exemption. So what about Chapter 13 bankruptcies? If the net equity in your home exceeds the maximum bankruptcy exemption, or you are behind on the mortgage payments, filing a Chapter 13 could help you save your home from a foreclosure. A Chapter 13 bankruptcy is basically just a reorganization into a new repayment plan. In your bankruptcy plan, you can catch up on past due mortgage payments over time, allowing you to keep your home in a bankruptcy. Also, Chapter 13 allows you to pay an additional amount to your unsecured creditors if your homestead exemption exceeds the maximum bankruptcy exemption. By paying a little extra cash each month through your bankruptcy plan, you could keep your home. You may also want to continue making your payments throughout the plan. For example, if you stop making payments on mortgage payments, the stay may be lifted and your creditors may try to collect on that debt. Now, you may be wondering, what if I'm already behind on my mortgage payments? Will this make me lose my house? The short answer is not necessarily. Down below, I actually linked an article titled, "Does Bankruptcy Stop Foreclosure?" And that article there should provide enough insight on how your home is treated in an instance where you are currently behind on payments on your mortgage. We would actually really strongly recommend going through it in detail to see if filing for bankruptcy could help stop your home from being foreclosed, even if you are already behind on your payments. Ascend believes that you should compare all of your debt relief options before choosing one specific option. Our debt relief calculator can help you understand all the debt relief options available to you specifically. Whether you have too much equity or too little equity in your home, you should consider taking the debt relief options calculator to help you compare your options, the cost of those options, the pros and cons that'll ideally help you make the most informed decision. The calculator is linked below in the description. Now, we hope this video was helpful, so please let us know in the comments if there was any questions that we missed, and we will try our best to get back to you as soon as possible. If you want to learn more about bankruptcy and debt relief alternatives, be sure to check out our page and find videos covering everything you need to know.